Yeah, it's gonna be one of those reviews. It's gonna be one of those reviews where a lot of people, they're gonna have opinions about this movie, and I'm just gonna tell you this straight up. Go see the movie. If you wanna see this movie, go watch the movie, form your opinion, and then come back, and then let's share the thoughts. But this movie is gonna have opinions, and I'm here to talk about mine. Eddington stars Joaquin Phoenix and is set in 2020 as a standoff between a small town sheriff and mayor sparks a powder keg as neighbor is pitted against neighbor. From writer and director Ari Aster, the man that brought you Hereditary, Midsommar, and Beau's Afraid, we're talking his brand new movie, Eddington. So I was interested in this movie for one name only, and that is Ari Aster. Ari Aster made Hereditary, and I think that's a masterpiece in the horror genre. I really like Midsommar. I love the opening to that movie. Beau's Afraid is a movie that I admire. It took a few watches, but it's one of those movies where I'm not trying to revisit anytime soon. But I admire it, but it almost pushed me off the edge of being too weird. With Eddington, I didn't know what to really expect in this movie. All I knew was it was a modern Western movie by Ari Aster with a really cool cast, but it's centered around COVID. And I'm gonna be honest with you, COVID was a weird time, but it was also a time where there was a lot of negativity. And with this movie, you add that subject matter and you add Ari Aster's filmmaking style and you put it together. This is the movie I kind of expected, but I went in this movie open-minded because I just admire Ari Aster so much. There was about 15 people in my auditorium when the movie started, and when there was credits, there was about 6 of us. Throughout the entire movie, people were getting up and leaving and not coming back. I thought about it. I thought about it multiple times, and this was a movie, I'm just going to be 100% straight up with you guys. This is not for me. This was not for me. This topic, what the movie's trying to say, and just overall the experience of watching this movie is a movie that I never, ever care to watch again. But let's get to the positives first. First things first, the score and the music is really good in this movie. I really like the score in this movie. I also really like the cinematography and the production value. I think Ari Aster really knows how to shoot a movie, and this movie continues that trend. It is really nice to look at. It's really well made. It's well put together. I gotta give up to the cinematographer, the production designers, Ari Aster himself. You made a good looking movie. I appreciated just looking at the movie, the lighting, the blocking, just really, really nice stuff with the camera movement too, and wonders and all that kind of stuff. Just really good filmmaking is put on screen. It helps when you also have a really good cast. This is a Joaquin Phoenix movie. I think he gives a really good performance as this sheriff who is just not in the right headset. I'll be honest with you. He thinks he can do certain things, and he's just putting his foot in his mouth in a lot of the scenes, and he does a fantastic job. I think Joaquin Phoenix is great. But if you're one of those people, like my female friend, who's like, hey, I want to see it because I like Emma Stone, Austin Butler, and Pedro Pascal, they're all very supporting small roles, especially Austin Butler. He's in this movie for like 2 scenes. Pedro has a very significant part into the whole story and what's going on, but it's a very small supporting role. But this movie, I will say, the third act, when something happens from that point to the end, I was into what was going on. I was like, okay, there's something happening. There's a really exciting and intense shootout in the third act of this movie that was made really well, and I was like, this is good stuff. This is good filmmaking, and this is good action stuff. I'm enjoying watching these scenes. That's about it, because Eddington is, again, one of those movies I never, ever care to rewatch in my life, because this topic of COVID, Black Lives Matter, religion, pedophilia, gun violence, and guns in general are all in this movie, and that's what the movie is about. All of those topics, because this movie's set in 2020. It is the definition of a 2020 movie. I feel like in like 20 years, when someone watches this movie and is like, wow, this is what happened in 2020, like, this is crazy. And this movie depicts it in a very big way, but also in a way where I can be like, all right, Ari Aster, I see like what you're doing. I see what you're trying to say. I see what you're trying to put. New Mexico, your hometown, whatever. This movie's close to home for you. You also want to put in the pandemic, what happened, the topics at hand. And I just feel like most audience members, at least for me, I'm not into that stuff, okay? And this is a politically, economic, whatever kind of movie, and that's what this movie's about. The general core of it is about COVID. It is literally about Pedro Pascal being a mayor who is going to get reelected, but Joaquin thinks like, hey, I'm a sheriff, I'm going to go up against you because I can run this town better than you. And then Black Lives Matter happen, and this movie includes George Floyd in a very big way, with a lot of characters speaking in a comedic tone for the movie, and I was not for it. I really just dislike the topics at hand in this movie. And that's a thing where, like, people in my theater clapped when this movie ended, and I could see that people had opinions, because outside the theater, like when the movie was over and I walked out to use the restroom, I came out of the restroom, people were standing next to the auditorium and they were talking about this movie and how one woman, I heard her say like the impact of what happened in 2020 and seeing this come to life was so refreshing. So maybe it's the movie that in like 10 years people can admire more, but like watching it right now in 2025, it just doesn't sit well with me. Like the topics are just something I'm not into. Like, I don't give a fuck, honestly. And I understand, Jacob, what is wrong with you? That was a very important time in our history. I agree. It was also a very depressing time because so much shit happened in 2020 that, like, I don't want to think about it. And then you're like, Jacob, that's the real world. I get it. But with this movie, the definition of movies is escapism. You want to escape and just go inside this world. This movie reminds you how bad 2020 was. And I wasn't for it, okay? Like, throughout the entire movie, when the third act, actually, something happens in the third act. Something picks up. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. The movie for the first hour and 40 minutes, like I said, is about all those topics. And I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. Like, the whole subplot with Emma Stone and Austin Butler, I don't get the importance of that. Like, I really don't. And there's something between her and Pedro Pascal and pedophilia. And I'm just like, what are we doing with these topics? Ari Aster, what are you trying to say? And I know some people are going to be like, Jacob, you didn't get it. You're probably damn right. But guess what? I don't give a fuck to revisit this movie and learn about it because I hated the story. I was bored. I didn't care. I didn't want to sit here and watch a movie that completely turned COVID into the storyline that deals with political economics of this town. Also, Black Lives Matters comes through this movie, and that's where the action comes in, and that's where, like, the shootout happens, and this is a very important plot line because of what's happening in the world of 2020, and this movie is just bringing it all up. I didn't want to sit there and watch this movie. I wanted to leave. I thought it was boring. I could not get into it. I don't care about the topics. It's well made. It's well acted. And I will say the third act, it gets intriguing. It's more exciting. It actually does a good job with its characters and the events of COVID and Black Lives Matter, and it puts it into a third act that's a little bit exciting. That's it. But I really do never ever want to watch this movie again. I was bored out of my mind, and I completely just don't care about these topics. And I know people can go see this movie and find it important. Like, it's not something I care to watch. I'm going to give Eddington a D. Again, that's why I say you need to go see this movie to form your own opinion, because if you're a person that's really into COVID, Black Lives Matter, any of that kind of stuff, like, you're into it, you might enjoy this movie more than me, because again, this movie is not based on any true story or anything. It's based on, like, the events of 2020 in this little town. But, like, I'm sorry, I could not get into it. Like, this is not a movie. Like, people always say, like, Ari Aster is a little much for me. This is that movie. This was a little much for me. I'm good. You guys can have it. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Please be nice, and if you agree with me, cool. If you don't, cool. See you guys on the next movie review. Bye, everybody.